The all-new Audi SQ5 today in our full review on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. Today with Thomas. We're going to take a detailed look on the exterior and the interior, tell you everything about the Q5 in general, and more in special about the powerful SQ5 version, the most powerful so far for this all-new generation of this compact SUV. And we will tell you everything also about the performance of this turbo petrol engine. Let's see if we can have a lot of fun here together in this review in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! In general, the all-new Audi Q5 has this huge single-frame grille, very prominent on the road. The SQ5, then the sporty version with sporty accentuation in the lower part here, also with silver linings and also this matte silver grille, SQ5 logo right there. Also, this one here has the optional matrix LED lights. You can also see the LED daytime running light, the signature in a very modern style. The color is Navara blue. This one is a little bit darker, I really like it. My very favorite would be the Ara blue. That one is a little bit brighter one. You can also check that out in our other review. And you can see here the design lights on front of the hood that are also giving a slight hint of what's underneath the hood. However, also the normal versions have that. Taking German prices as reference, the Q5 starts at about 40,000 euros, then the SQ5 65, mainly due to that, which is under the hood. We're going to take a look at that very soon. 4.66 m or 15'3" is the total length of this compact SUV. There are some smaller ones, but there are also some bigger ones in this compact segment. You can see that my favorite here are those chrome style side mirror caps. This is special for the SQ5. Also we got 20-inch rim stands from standard in this star design here, also with a little two-color scheme. Overall the layout here is rather conservative, but especially in contrast to the Navara blue, which is a rather darker blue, the chrome contrasts here around the windows, they work very well for sure. Main design line is above the door handles. More over to the rear, it's rather about form follows function. You know, it's more an evolution than a revolution in design. And now to the rear, I really like the 3D art they've done here with the tail lights. In general, it's pretty much the same with a normal Q5, but then about the exhaust tip. You see, we have this design scheme here that is basically faking exhaust pipes. And at the world premiere in Detroit, we've discussed that, and there were a lot of comments of people saying, I really don't want it, I want to see the real stuff. The real exhaust, they're right underneath there on both sides, two pipes, but you can't see the real ones up there. And this was really a design decision. I've already talked to the project leader of the Q5 from Audi, and he told me, yeah, we've seen this criticism and we take it very seriously, so they are actually reconsidering it. I mean, there's no chance that they will change it in the next few years because it's just airing out this car now. But maybe that will be changed with the facelift. So they say they take it seriously and they think what they can do about it. And to show you a different color here, green, pretty unusual. And this one is also featuring a black package, means a black single frame grille. Also the horizontal parts are in black. And even more, for example, also around the windows, the frame right there, and the roof rails also in black. Just the rims, they are pretty huge and not in black, but in the bright style, 21-inch, the maximum you can get. And now let's take a look at the interior. The key, by the way, that's that one here, slim. Nice in design, and for the SQ5 also with an S logo. The door handles and the closing sound, pretty solid. And what I want to try, because we also have the keyless entry, so we can close it like this. And with a test speaker I had recently, I had a little bit of problems with the keyless entry, so sometimes it didn't really open at the first time, but this one obviously works. It's because some problems are really fixed on the model, and sometimes you only have one vehicle which has some kind of a problem here. Obviously with this one, the keyless entry works flawlessly. Interesting. Then, inside of the doors, very nicely done, the aluminum stripe. The upper part, well, it's not super hard, but it's also not really soft. Still, I think they could have done maybe a leather red here or a fabric cover, because, I mean, this car is super expensive. I would expect something better right there. Then, nicely done Alcantara here. I mean, why not use it also on the upper part? Then you can put some bottles right there in the inside of the doors. Optional Bang & Olufsen sound system, pretty good sound indeed. So if you like music, that might be an extra worthwhile. And we'll also take a look, of course, steering wheel and the seats. So here we go with the interior. You see the SQ5 has a special steering wheel with the flat bottom and also the S logo and white contrast stitches on the very inside. The steering wheel itself is also more compact, it's smaller. The one we recently had in the 2-liter TDI in the normal Q5 was way bigger, and this one suits the car better, I think. Then the seats in the SQ5 come with standard with microfiber or Alcantara on the inside and then animal skin on the outside. Those ones, the optional full animal skin seats. Audi does have to do some work to offer more alternatives there. In the normal Q5 you also get fabric seats, at least in Germany, but not also on all markets. And when we get inside, you got this upright SUV seating position, very good overview. Then again, the rather conservative layout on the outside is good for the overview on the inside to all of the sides, also due to this frameless mirror. So very cozy, comfortable position, and you get along immediately actually. Then electric seat support right there, front and back, and also for the rear part. Then the lumbar support. Are you a lumbar support guy? I just always ride without it. However, my wife is always going all the way with the lumbar support, so it always depends on your body shape. Then steering wheel can also be adjusted manually. It's actually very smooth, so why not doing it manually? Not everything has to be electric. And my favorite detail is that on the steering wheel we have this Audi single frame grille in the very same form than we have on the outside in the front grille. Cockpit overview. What we see is a very horizontal layout, especially also with the beautiful aluminum strip right there. Also some design lines which we see on the outside, again here also on the interior. This one here is a little bit softened up, this dashboard style, also all the way around there, so that's pretty much fine, I think. Also the head-up display is hidden quite well. You don't see like a very huge hill just for the head-up display projection into the windscreen, optional of course. I really like the climate unit, of course. There's placed right there where you can reach it with a nice clicking sound. The steering wheel again has a right size to me. Also there's the automatic gearbox. Interesting to know again that the small engines have the dual clutch transmissions. Just the SQ5 and the big 3-liter TDI, those come with automatic converter gearbox because they can better bear those massive amount of torque they get. From standard equipment, well, you don't get too much, but one very key feature that you cannot see here, the pre-sense, the autonomous city emergency brake, that is standard equipment right there with every Q5 and goes up to a speed of 85 kilometers. That's very good, and we also plead for that every manufacturer puts this AEB from the standard equipment. How do you like the interior here of the Q5? Tell me in the comments. I can just say, you know, besides the one flaw, the inside of the doors, the processing again, really perfection in detail. Also when you look at all the gaps, everything matches everything perfectly. Middle armrest, you can change the level, the height, and then also be fixedly attached. Then we also got a inductive charger for your smartphone right there. You have some space in there, but also can slide it back. Then for the adaptive beverage holders. And you also have 2 USB ports. So analog display is standard in the middle part here. And you can optionally get the virtual cockpit as we have it right here. Then you're flexible. For example, you can have the GPS view also with satellite view right there. Big RPM meter in the middle part. But if you more want to concentrate on the GPS map, you can also make it bigger. Pretty impressive, that's for sure. But I would also be fine with analog instruments. Always depends on how much money you want to spend. infotainment system. Standard is 7-inch, this one here the 8.3-inch, the bigger one optionally. There's no touchscreen, but the control is pretty good actually. This is the Audi Drive Select. You can lift the car up if you have the optional air suspension as we have it right now for off-road, for example. And auto, you would just leave it like that usually. Dynamic, then the car would be set a little bit lower and also sportier from the suspension and stuff. Rest of the infotainment system, you can connect your phone via Bluetooth, one solution, or also you can get the cable connection in for the smartphone interface like this. Then you have also Apple CarPlay available, so that is also possible. The map here looks like this. You can get the satellite view. Also the reaction times are pretty fast. That is also well done. And my favorite feature for the GPS is actually that you can have the optional drawing pad. Then you can, for example, draw the letters where you want to go. If I want to go to Berlin, you see, I just write them and then I can go to Berlin. And let's get in the rear. As I would be driving, I'm 1.86 m or 6'1". Headroom wise, when you do not have a panoramic roof, this is totally okay. Also in the front. Knee room also works for 4 tall adults, but considering the length of the car and the size, the seats are pretty thick, so there should be a little bit more knee space, I think. So it's not the SUV with the best package. There we have other SUVs that are better, but you got a very comfortable seating position right there if you're not like 2 meters or 6'4". And you can also change the angle of the backrest here just a little bit, so you can have it a little bit more back and also a little bit more upright. Yeah, that's the function. So, but you know, it's, I think, more comfortable if you sit a little bit more upright. Then you can also fold down some cup holders right there, like this, and by those levers on the side, you can also flip the seats from here. That is also possible, like there, down there, and then do it like this. But of course, we can take a better look at it from the trunk. So speaking about the boot, you can slide the bench forward to either make it a little bit more spacious in the rear, or also for more knee room then again, so you stay flexible. So let's take a look in the hatch right there, electric one. Good quality here with the loading sill, like that also from the haptics. Then there's the cover with rails on each side. Pretty reasonable space right there. So beneath that we got this replacement tire which is folded pretty precisely, and inside there's a sound system, but this will fold out to a complete tire, very interesting. Then as we have the adaptive air suspension, we can also lower the trunk just a little bit from the air suspension. That is possible, but I'm not sure if you would really use that in real life. And on the sides each we have those levers, and we can flip them to unlock the seats. There we go. And if we go around, then we can also really push them flat, so they don't go all flat automatically. And you maybe heard that they are also fixed then in their lower position. Also, you can get a trunk split. For example, you can move those here at the side. Maybe, for example, doing like this. Put something here that should stand upright. For example, use them, you know, when we're visiting grandma and she's getting us some food to take with us, you know, then it stands upright here, and you can fix it very, very well then here. Or also split the trunk like this if you have some suitcases which should not be rolling around or something like that. So there are flexible solutions available. Of course, they are all options. That's sad with the Audis. You get a lot of options and they also boost the price. There it is, the 3-liter V6 turbo petrol engine with a nice engine cover, that's for sure. In general, for the Q5 you have a set of 2-liter 4-cylinders, both petrol and diesel. There's a 3-liter 6-cylinder diesel as well. And then now here the new big petrol engine with 354 horsepower output. Acceleration 5.4 seconds to 100 kilometers an hour or 62 miles an hour. And consumption wise, well, it's easy to score 2-digit figures on 100 kilometers with that one, that's for sure. So the diesel is definitely more fuel saving. This one here promises a little bit more fun. So this SQ5 petrol will be available worldwide. However, if you wonder what happened to the SQ5 diesel, because in Europe so far you could only get the SQ5 diesel, yeah, that one will be coming to the market as well in a new version. However, the SQ5 diesel then only reserved for Europe again. So we will start with our driving part, and for that we switch to the RPM view, sport mode and also the dynamic mode, and show you the 0 to 100 kilometers acceleration. I'd say let's go. That's already it. Did anyone count? Did we achieve something 5.4 seconds? That's the official figure. What did we achieve? It was a really harmonic acceleration at the same time because it comes over the all-wheel drive. It's a classic all-wheel drive with a permanent all-wheel drive that is with the bigger models than the, for example, smaller diesels and smaller petrol engines. Then they have a different quattro all-wheel drive system. So interesting that even inside the model lineup it's a little bit different. Here you got a very even distribution most of the times for both axles, and therefore also you get pushed and pulled at the same time with this acceleration. At the same time, very powerful, that acceleration, and also a nice sound for sure. And when you shift, you can also, I'll let the automatic do it, but also manually, you also hear this it's not the DSG fart here because there's the converter gearbox, but they also made the transition from the gears that you really can hear them. Plop. So I think the nicely done, the sound. It's not really subtle, but it's also not too loud. I think they found a really good compromise. You also heard something from that from the outside parts. And at the moment I'm driving, let's go to 100, and how silent it is in here. Wow, what a great noise insulation. So it's such a calm ride. And then also at higher speeds we have the adaptive air suspension, which is set on the sport level than here. So a little bit different than the one we had recently in the 2-liter TDI. So even at higher speeds, the car is so agile, but the comfort is always guaranteed. So they found a great compromise. And so you do have more fun in driving than, comparing to the latest review where we just had the normal air suspension then. However, you can also stick with a normal suspension if you don't want to have an air suspension, don't want to get all the extras in there. It will also do fine for sure. A good overview, the pillars are not too thick also to all of the sides. You know where the vehicle is ending, and this gives you also a feeling of security combined with this automatic emergency brake, which we are also having. Here we have just a free countryside road when we're doing some lane change right here, for example. The steering wheel, great job, how direct the steering wheel is reacting, progressive, really. You can keep the hands, both hands at the steering wheel all the time. This is good for safety, good for comfort, and good for sporty driving. I really like the steering wheel setup they found in most VW and Audi sport models with the progressive characteristics. That's really great if you drive something else. And well, recently the Honda Civic was also well done then. Here also shifting down with the manual pads and giving it more RPM. I mean, in the recent review I said the Q5 is a great car, but it lacks a little spice. And here the SQ5 is actually adding that little spice. Of course, if you taste a lot of this spice, the spice extends consciousness, then it always extends the consumption as well. So you have to be aware about that. You can really control it with your foot. But however, if you drive this vehicle with that engine calm, then you can also score the same consumption with the smaller engines. So reducing the 60. Well, brakes are also applying very well. Head-up display, by the way, gives me an information of the allowed speed and the current speed I am driving. Assistance systems wise, you can get the highest spec then that also the speed is being adjusted. Let's see if also we are going inside a city right now, if the speed is being reduced to 50. I didn't really catch that, but we are doing a U-turn here right now. I also got my A6 camera car in front of me. Yeah, I mean, it's not the smallest U-turn circle we have with that vehicle, that's for sure, but easy to switch around in the gears. By the way, if we go to the normal auto mode and also to the D mode, then it's becoming even more silent. Wow, I think you do hear that on microphone as well, how silent it is really. And even at higher speeds, also in the other Q5, I did some high-speed tests also off-camera with really high speed, and that was still so calm. So great job they've done there. So many things that have been, especially in the driving part, done perfectly. Steering, suspension-wise, noise insulation, still with the overview. You have an SUV with comfort and a high seating position, but still have a sporty approach. So I'm really thinking if there are any wishes to be still fulfilled here for me, and I can hardly think of some. The automatic transmission, by the way, if you're on the D mode, the transitions are so smooth, you hardly hear or feel them. Just when you hammer the throttle a little bit off the exhaust note, D7, D8, you don't really feel it. Just when you go to the S mode, and you can, for example, not go to the dynamic mode, so leave the suspension rather soft, and still go with the S shifting mode, then you just have a little bit more, gears are turned up higher in the RPMs, later shifting up, but earlier shifting down there again. So for example here, S6, if I go to the D mode, D7 already a gear up, and D8 another gear up, and you see the RPMs drop down, so you also can score lower consumption. There's even a eco mode, so efficiency mode. Then you can use also this sailing function. Also tells me when I should step off the gas pedal, because it's combined with GPS data. Because the car already knows now there's another traffic sign coming that is reducing the speed, and therefore I got the recommendation to lift the foot off throttle to save some fuel. Really good idea. And as I said earlier, the adaptive cruise control is also working flawlessly, a great system. So they've really done their homework as for that. So also the assistance systems, we also have a blind spot monitor where you see this small glass will then flash if someone is overtaking us. Gladly no one is overtaking us at the moment. So, and then back to some more fun in the S mode, just with the S mode now. And we can also manual shift down to give it some more RPMs. Plop. Always fun to use the shifting pedals then, that you can directly induce this upshifting sound too. And again here, stability at high speeds for an SUV, that is really great. I mean, the Porsche Macan managed that beforehand, they share the platform. And then again, this one can really catch up to it, I think, especially in the SQ5 version here now, then with this sporty tuned air suspension, there's actually no problem to match that. Thinking about the GLC43, with which you can really compare both with 6 cylinders, the GLC43 was a little stiffer from the suspension, which I did not like that much. It was too stiff for me for everyday riding. Then again, rest of the features were a little bit more emotional to me in the GLC. So, but from riding part here, so the combination of sportiness and comfort, I'm really convinced of this vehicle here. So it's, pros and cons. From driving itself, I think this one surely belongs to the favorite SUVs in this segment to me. And however, for example, seat surface choices, Mercedes leads the way there. So there's always, something about the brands, but that also keeps it interesting. The BMW X4 we drove also in the sporty version. That was maybe something in between, also very sporty approach. Then they're all good vehicles for sure. You have to watch the reviews full length and then to find out your personal preference by that. because we are giving you something like a test ride, of course, without being at the dealer yourself. So you can really enjoy it also Autobahn driving and also city driving and countryside driving. Definitely very convincing what we've experienced here today with the SQ5. And now to our conclusion for today, Audi SQ5. The general layout of the all-new generation Q5 is rather conservative. However, with the SQ5, you can spice it up a little bit. Of course, there is the big discussion about the fake exhaust tips in the rear. The interior processing, really great. Besides that, the famous thing at the inside of the doors, but everything else great in the processing. They lack a little bit of animal skin alternative, that's for sure. Driving, really surprising. It is stiff and comfortable at the same time. So the Q5 was also comfortable in all of the other versions, but this one here has also sportiness, and I think they found a great compromise, especially with the air suspension, the optional one we've driven today here, really leading in the segment from the driving feeling to combine comfort and sportiness. Also the sound insulation is so quiet inside the car, and therefore also because, on the one hand, it is sometimes maybe a little bit boring. It's not the most emotional compact SUV, but it has so many elements where it's really trimmed to perfection and this great riding quality. And therefore, it's still one of the best choices, of course, in the segment, if you're willing to pay the price for it. Thank you very much. I want to hear your feedback on the Audi SQ5, and we will keep you updated with more versions, of course, through the next years, and also tune into other Audi reviews from us and to the competitor brands. Thanks so much for watching.